So hey y'all, I just wanted to start by congratulating you for coming this far. We're about halfway into the course, and hopefully the better half is yet to come. I'm pretty amazed that most of you, if not all of you, are doing a fantastic job, so keep up the good work. So to recap, we have so far learned about what constitutes a game, how to find the equilibrium in these games, and how to apply this concept of Nash equilibrium in various settings, most notably in industrial organizations. So in the latter half, we will relax some of the assumptions that we made about these games and introduce more nuances to make it more similar to real life. Okay, so for all the examples that we have gone over, we have assumed that the players play a simultaneous one-shot game where they choose one action that they will not want to deviate from. So in the next several lectures, we will relax these assumptions that players, number one, predictably choose one strategy, and two, that they're simultaneously making a decision, and number three, that the game is just a one-shot game where there's no more opportunities for the players to interact in the future. So let's start with relaxing the first assumption. So all of the Nash equilibriums that we went over so far are pure strategy Nash equilibrium, where players are choosing one strategy and they stick with it, right? But in real life, this kind of works to your disadvantage, right? If you just choose one strategy over time, over and over, your opponent will easily guess your strategy and perhaps might choose another strategy that would work against you for his own benefit. So in games, we want to be unpredictable. We want to mix our strategies so that our opponents may not be able to choose the strategy that they think is best for them and is bad for you. So, if you're predictable in tennis, you'll probably lose your serve or get scored by the server if you're a receiver. If you're predictable in a game of chess, then most likely you'll lose because your opponent will know which move you'll make next. Being predictable is so bad that even dating experts say that you shouldn't be predictable in your first date. That was a joke. Actually, I'm pretty predictable. That's what a lot of people say. But I guess that's good for you guys taking this course, since a lot of this course material and the expectations and the grades that you'll get are hopefully predictable. So we'll learn that certain settings require you to mix your strategies to not be predictable, and we'll learn about how to do that in a very methodical way. So next, we'll learn about extensive foreign games by relaxing the assumption that players always play the same old game simultaneously. And in extensive foreign games, people take turns playing the game. It's sequential. So to illustrate this, let's go back to one of our familiar examples of this guy who woke up late for class. Let's give him a name this time. Let's give him a name called Tom because it's similar to my name. And I like to wake up late. So perhaps you thought this was not a strategic situation, but we could make it strategic. So in Tom, in weighing the pros and cons of going to class, he does something that only human beings can do. He imagines hypothetical situations that didn't take place yet. So he looks into the future and see what happens. So he first hypothesizes what will happen if he doesn't go to class. So he sleeps in. So he knows that if he sleeps in, that he'll be rested well and that he'll be able to play with his cat. The cat's happy. That's not my cat. I don't own a pet. I just got it off the internet. So now he hypothesizes what the professor will do if he does go to class late. One of two things can happen. The first is that the professor is generous and he gives Tom the attendance point, or that he feels less generous and that he marks him as absent and even expels him from the classroom. But Tom, however, knows that this professor is particularly keen on not allowing students to be late. So in most likely case, the professor will count him as absent. So it will be this case in the right. So Tom now feels like if the professor is going to mark him anyway, why go to class if he can just sleep in and be with his cat and make the cat happy. So you see in this example, the game happens in stages. And in each stage, a different player makes the decision. And in order to maximize his payoff, Tom considers the various outcomes of the game and decides to quote unquote backward induct on what the professor would do at the last stage of the game and what he should do knowing what the professor will do in the last stage. So pretty cool, huh? So finally, we will learn about repeated games. And in these games, you're no longer just playing a one-shot game with one individual, but you're playing multiple rounds with the same individual over time. So maybe one example could be you and your roommate interacting every day. Let's say you guys decide on who to do the dishes, who is to do the dishes, and one day you do it, the next day your roommate does it, but maybe over time your roommate shirks, and you have to decide, okay, do I forgive him by doing his dishes when my turn comes around, or do I not forgive him and revenge and shirk as well? And this has to do with building reputation or lack thereof, and we'll see how reputation building impacts people's strategy. And also because people are interacting constantly over time, we also introduce this element of time, and we learned in the principles of economics that people discount future payoff. So the $10 tomorrow is worth less than $10 today. So we'll also learn about how to incorporate this discounting in people's strategy. So I'm excited to go over all these topics with you guys in the next 2 weeks. So before I end this video, though, I wanted to briefly touch on the Mob Lab tournament. So I want to propose that we do a real life Mob Lab tournament that's concurrent, where you play other classmates. So I've gotten good feedback that perhaps playing with bots isn't the most exciting thing because you can't really strategize in certain games because these bots are not really sophisticated. So to be more fun and more easy for you guys, I'm going to stop having mob lab game exercises where you guys play bots, but instead replace it with maybe 1 or 2 real life concurrent tournaments where you guys will be logging in at the same time and playing against one another. It will be awesome. It will just need some coordination and participation from you all, but from my last survey, I think about 7 out of 10 of you wanted to participate. So that's great. I'll give you more information on that later throughout the week. So that's it. I hope you guys all join this Mob Lab tournament, and stay safe, and I'll see you perhaps in Zoom or somewhere else. All right, see you guys. Goodbye.